Welcome to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Here's your hosts, Matt Cook and Bobby Brown. Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. As usual, we've got Mr. Bobby Brown here. I'm also a host on this show. Bobby is the legend. He is the man on the ground. His boots are out there. I mean, folks, he was out there on Monday last week just trotting around that golf course when nobody was out there. We're going to get into it. I know we're going to get into it.
Saturday and Sunday, too, before the tournament. That's how you get your guy to finish tied for 67th and play the last 5 and 5 over on Sunday.
There you go.
That's for you. That's all I got.
We've got a great show tonight. Obviously, I mean, we're jumping around already. I love it. But we're gonna start off. We've got a quick little note here, or should I say tasting notes? Because Bushwood Spirits sent me out a couple bottles of their rye whiskey and their bourbon, and my God, let me tell you, I'm gonna get into it. But CJ Cup recap tonight. Bobby, You're gonna give us all the deets, all the dish, all the inside scoop around the CJ Cup. And then we're going to talk about the upcoming, this one just makes me laugh. I don't know why, Bobby, but the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. Just Butterfield. It's a Butterfield, folks. It's a light one. So
no comment.
Yeah. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we've got the upcoming LIV Golf Miami Team Championship, which technically the last part to this that we're going to cover is, can LIV Golf survive? And I'm going to talk about why this episode is titled that and why we're bringing that up. But this Miami event being a team event, we're going to talk a little bit about where they might fit in long term, and if they do or if they don't, and this is just a ton of wasted Saudi money. So we're going to get into all of that and more, but let's start off. I got a little story time for you here, Bobby. Okay, so you're wearing the Padres hat.
Oh,
my yeah. At least you got out earlier than we did. I mean, at least you didn't get swept either. My God, but the Yankees, so Saturday, I was already super depressed after that game. I knew it was over. I ended up putting a post, a story that I was like, "We'll be missing you" by P. Diddy, and that I was very sad.
Is that copyright infringement? Are you allowed to do that?
Oh, I can talk about it. So Instagram allows it until you get so many followers, and I don't have enough yet, so we're fine. I'm still at like that 10,000 mark, so I don't know when they start cutting you off of the music. But that being said, I posted that. A bunch of people started reaching out saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your Yankees." And what's hilarious is they had one more game to go. So come Sunday, I'm already like in that mood of like, all right, season's over. Here we go. They gave some quick little, the lead went back and forth a little bit, but it was never one of those where I'm like, oh, long term, we're going to come back and pull a Red Sox and come back from 3-0. But long story short, after a depressing loss, I'm sitting there and I'm going, man, what would be really good right now? And then I remembered, I'm like, oh, you know what? Bushwood Spirits sent me out a couple bottles, and I started just diving in to the 7-year bourbon from Bushwood. And this thing, Bobby, let me tell you, it is absolutely fantastic and delicious. They also sent me out this rye, which I'm more of a rye guy anyways. Look at that crystal ball on top. The other one was bronze.
Cool.
Isn't it?
Kind of cool. I was gonna say it must be super powerful, and you must have started drinking it earlier today because you did not look in the mirror before you put that shirt on, did you?
Hey, it's story time with Matt. And yes, folks,
Honey,
I'm wearing...
pass the comforter. Oh, Matt's wearing it. I can't. Okay, I'm done. Best movie I've been in.
We're close to Halloween, but does this golf shirt not scream?
That's Christmas, bro.
LIV Golf here. I mean, this is orange. It's like a Halloween, Christmas. It's part of the Bad Birdie fall line. And my
It's
goodness,
bad.
if you haven't seen this golf shirt, definitely take a look at the YouTube channel to see what we're talking about. But man, it is bright, it is orange, it is green, it is pink, it has some blue in here. I don't know. There's a million different colors in here. But Bobby, so Sunday night I'm depressed. I'm even more depressed now, but but Sunday night I'm sitting there and I'm sipping on Bushwood bourbon, and it's finally cold here in Arizona. So pop on the fireplace and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the damn Champions Tour. I mean, we're talking late at night, Golf Channel. The PGA Tour isn't even on anymore. So they're
Right.
replaying the
I know.
Champions Tour. And my God, I'm sitting there just having, I mean, I forgot about all my problems. And I'm just sitting there sipping on this bourbon, little cinnamon twist to it. And it was incredible. But let me tell you what's even more incredible. Steven Elker. Have you ever heard of Steven Elker?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I've known him for what seems like probably 30 or 40 years when he was battling on the nationwide web.com Corn Ferry Tour, back and forth, up and down, and now he is the man on the Champions Tour, which means all you kids out there, never give up on your dreams, right?
That's right. And
Yes.
that is exactly why decided to play in a tournament recently. Stroke
Hmm.
play, first one in probably years.
Prep for your Waste Management Monday qualifier.
That's right, Bobby. You know it. And as I did, I it was supposed to be a team event. It was supposed to be a scramble, and they changed it to an individual stroke play. And
Prep for your Monday qualifier for Live Miami.
the worst part of my game, actually two parts, is my wedges and my chipping capabilities.
I just
And
want to forewarn you, I'm feeling super sassy tonight. So
yeah, keep it. I mean, this is fantastic because I'm going through a moment here where I'm remembering all of this, and I sat there and I'm like, "Oh wow, am I really gonna do this? Am I gonna like?" Because it was a par three course. Now it's one of the nicest ones here in Arizona. It's called Mountain Shadows. Shout out to them because it was an awesome, awesome shape in terms of the course.
don't they have a legendary money game there at Mountain Shadows every single week with the creme de la creme of all the Arizona mini tour? Well, there you go.
I don't
Mini
know.
tour players. I
Yeah,
heard
I'm
there's
gonna
that.
have to find out.
Yeah, is that over? Is it by Camelback Mountain?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
they got a legendary game there. Legendary game every week. So sorry to interrupt. I'm being
No, you're good.
continue
But
on.
all of these holes are like between 65 yards to like 150, but they're these big and undulating green complexes, very challenging. Like you put them in some spots, you're not going to be able to two putt. Like it's nearly impossible on some of them. And they put them in some ridiculous spots. So I'm out there and this was on Saturday. So this really topped off everything. So I go out there. I did not play the greatest, but at the same time, I was proud of myself. I didn't embarrass myself. I shot four over, which I was fine with. I'm like, hey, you know what? I had two birdies out there. Could have made a couple more, but overall, game's just not there in terms of the two biggest weaknesses of my game. So to shoot four over in the weakest part of my game, I was quite happy with. Sunday night, we're getting back to the Champions Tour. I'm watching Steven Alker. And let me tell you whose game does not have a problem with short gamer chipping. It's
Stephen
Steven
Alker.
Alker. I
Yeah,
mean, he had so much sunscreen on, Bobby. I'm surprised he could see.
yeah.
That guy, his face was white. It looked like he put his face in a pound of cocaine. It was unbelievable.
I don't think Stephen Elker has even seen cocaine ever in his life.
He seemed like a super nice guy. He ends up winning, super clutch. He beats Padraig Harrington as well as I'm blanking on the other guy's name, another big PGA Tour player from Jerry. How do
Kelly?
I?
Jerry Kelly?
Yeah, Jerry Kelly.
From Wisconsin.
Yeah, so he takes out both of them as they were coming down the stretch. Birdie's three out of the last four to win it, and Steven Alker was just pumped. And I sat there and I go, man, what a legendary night of Bushwood spirits
How many
and
wins is
Champions
this
Tour.
for Alker since he joined the Champions Tour? Is this like 5 now or something?
He's dominating Bobby.
Yeah,
His lead
yeah,
over I believe it's Harrington, his lead. It's almost double of
right.
what Harrington has. And
Right.
I'm sitting there going, "What? Who is this Steven Elker?" I go, "I know Bobby must know who this guy
Yeah, he's been
is."
around forever. He's a grinder. His story's fantastic. He just never gave up. He never gave up, and now it's all clicking into gear for him. I just read something that their purses. I didn't read the whole article. Damn it, I should have. But I think their purses are going through the roof next year on the Champions Tour. Go figure. Every PGA Tour associated thing is going through the roof.
Well,
Thanks, Craig.
I got 10 years to prepare here, Bobby.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got bad news for you on that waste management Monday qualifier.
Oh
'Cause
no.
that's an elevated per. Yeah, that was a big topic with us with some of us players and caddies last week. We were talking about it. We don't even think
There's going to
if
be.
there is a Monday qualifier that it could be just a one spot Monday qualifier because it would be hard for the PGA Tour and these elevated events. And Hartford is the same thing too. The Travelers Championship, they usually have had a tough Monday in the past. But could you imagine if they let 4 Mondays into an elevated purse and not let two or three more PGA Tour members
That's a great point,
in?
Bobby.
That is a good point. We'll keep abreast of that situation.
Yeah.
But I hear the rumor around town is that if if they do have them, that they're probably going to be one spotters, and that so you just save money right there, so you don't have to go beat your head up. It's not a three.
Oh no,
Well,
Bobby.
well,
Even if it's
Scottsdale's
one
usually a three
spot,
spotter.
I'm going after it.
Right.
I'm gonna go ham out there because
Right.
you never know when you catch lightning in a bottle. It's gonna be an easy grand wasted, but at the
Right.
same time, if I spend that grand and I get that one spot, Bobby, and I
Is it
catch
only a grand?
lightning,
I think it's more. Is it a grand?
it's like 1,200
That
bucks, I think. I mean, I
I've
haven't
worked that
checked.
one.
Bobby, I haven't tried to Monday qualify in like 20 years.
Why
So,
would you? Obviously, you're a fashionista. Look at you. You don't need to mess around with golf anymore. You are setting the trend for clothing apparel. Do I
does
need to go to my closet tomorrow and send you some reinforcements?
this is why we're starting a clothing line so we don't end up with something like this.
I'm just kidding. Looks good on you, though. All right, what
All
else do you
right,
got? What else do you got for
story
info?
time's over.
Okay.
Bobby's done with story time. We've got the CJ Cup recap.
That's
So
nice.
Bobby, take us through your week, man. Let's start
Well,
off with how was your stay at the Quality Inn? Did it turn
Well,
around?
didn't we go over this last week? Didn't we go over this last week in that shithole Quality Inn? Well, you want to know something? I was crying the blues and telling you about hunting cockroaches and all that kind of stuff. And literally in 3 nights staying there, fucking got like 4.5 hours sleep because I was sleeping like this with one eye open, thinking shit was all over me. So I'm like, I'm just being the man that I am, my Corn Ferry tour routes and 4 guys to a room, two sleeping on the floor and those kind of scenario. Fuck that. I don't do that anymore. I'm not on the Corn Ferry tour. So I woke up on, let's say it was, when did we talk? Wednesday. So I woke up on
Uh,
Thursday morning, right? I had a super early tea time on Thursday, got up at 5, not going to drink the fucking coffee out of the room in the Quality Inn for obvious reason with all the critters rolling around. So I walked over to this ghetto ass gas station and got like a coffee, and I came back and I was drinking my coffee and that kind of stuff and had my clothes all ready for the big day, opening day at the CJ Cup, $12 million, blah, 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 blah. And are we going to pop out of our little slump? Blah, 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 blah. And so I drink half my coffee. I jump out of the shower, jump in the shower, I jump out, I go to pick my coffee cup up, and there's a fucking cockroach sitting on my coffee cup. So, you know what I did instead of put my shoes on? I packed up all my shit and I put it in all my bags and I put it in my car. And the rest of the week, I drove back and forth from home from Daniel Island to
no
the golf
kidding.
course, an hour and 20 minutes. And why the fuck I didn't do that at the start of the week, I have no idea because
Well, it was a free room.
my boys and Lori love, well, in that order, my boys loved having me home. And they were super excited when I came home every single night because we weren't having a very good week. We had an okay Saturday. I'll get into the gory details later, but I don't know why I didn't do that before because Victor Hovland's caddy lives kind of close to me, Shay, and Danny Saul, who is Corey Connor's caddy. He lives in downtown Charleston, and they were driving back and forth, and they're like, "Are you
Hmm.
driving?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not driving. It's too stressful." But it's a super peaceful drive. It's straight down for people that haven't been here. Well, that have been here before. Highway 17 is all through the marsh and a lot of deer and everything. That's the only hectic thing about the drive is if you make it at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, it's still super dark out here, and it's like deer highway out there. So that's the Quality Inn. I'm never, no, no, no
Yeah,
more.
see,
One. No, the
I was
last.
expecting this long drawn out story
Nope,
about the rest of your stay at
nope,
the Quality Inn.
nope.
Nada. You
Pack my
decided to
shit up.
pack it up.
Pack my shit
This
up.
is how big of an
Yeah.
expert Bobby Brown is, folks. He said, "Fuck it. I'm packing up my shit and I
It,
am going back
yeah,
home and I will
yeah,
drive the hour and 20." Now, most
yeah.
of the caddies, were you saying that they were staying in Bluffton? Because
E-
that's about an
Yeah,
hour or
yeah.
50 minutes.
Everybody was traveling. Bluffton or Beaufort. Beaufort was a popular spot
Mm,
too. Well, the big name caddies, I told you at the sick ass golf course, Congaree, they have 35 cabins, like they're Augusta looking cabins all around. You know what I mean? With the white and the green roofs and everything like that. So there's 35 of them that stayed on campus, and the food, and that they had food there for them. The CJ Cup puts on great presentation as far as food goes. Remember, I was telling you that all the live caddies were like, "Oh, the food's so much better on live and this and PGA Tour sucks dick and blah blah blah." And I'm like, wait till we get the CJ Cup, because in the past CJ Cups that I've done, well, the ones in Korea, the ones that we did in Korea for the first 2 years, the food was like going to some five-star sushi restaurant, only for free. And then we had it at Shadow Creek in Vegas, and it was like going to a five-star sushi restaurant only for free. But this year at Congaree, I'm just going to say it, the food sucked dick. It was
wow, the
horrible. It was
live
horrible
caddies are
for caddies.
right.
I cannot eat another turkey sausage link that is not warm anymore. Grits. I live in grits country, Charleston, South
You
Carolina.
do.
Okay. Your grits are supposed to be creamy and smoothie with cheese melted on top. You're not supposed to need a fucking butter knife to cut into your grits. So it progressively got a little bit better as the week went on. Like we had some really good chicken and some really good pork, but it's funny, as caddies we were talking about that. We're like, isn't this the CJ Cup where Bibigo is one of CJ's main companies, and they're trying to dive in. I think half the reason they're having the tournament over here is they're starting to dive into the food industry over here because they're so popular in South Korea. And I don't know, are you a Costco guy at all? Do you go to
Oh,
Costco
of
at all?
course, Bobby.
Okay, so in the frozen food section, you'll see the CJ logo and Bibigo with their pot stickers.
Yep.
My favorite Korean dish that the Koreans I work for, Siwoo, turned me on to. It's called, I'm gonna see if I can say it right. Beef bulgogi, Bulgogi, and it's like this shredded beef with kimchi and everything like that. I'm one of the only white dudes that loves
Mm.
kimchi. I think it's one of the greatest things I've ever. Well, I would never watch a documentary on how they make it, but I'll sure as shit eat it. That's all I got to say. Want to talk golf?
Absolutely. Well,
Okay,
Bobby,
let's talk
I
golf.
mean, we got over the stay.
Yeah.
Bobby's driving in, but Bobby spent a lot of time there. I
Yeah.
short-handed him on the Monday. It was Saturday,
But
Sunday,
Saturday and
folks, and
Sunday
then
I went
Monday.
out
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Let
You
me
did tell
address
me that.
let me address to all the people that are listening that listened last week that think I'm the stupidest fucking motherfucking caddy on the planet, because I was the one that called 8 under as the winning score. And then you called 12, and then I bumped up to 9, and then I jabbed you
Yeah,
and
but
said,
you
"You're an amateur.
chastised me.
I'm
You
a
go,
caddy. I know what I'm talking about."
this
But
is
I'm going to
why
say
I'm
this in my
behind the
defense.
screen.
I'm going to say this in my defense to everybody. I made that call after walking this golf course on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, fully tipped out at 7,600 and change, where you got par fours that are 540 yards, 510, 520, 495, par fives that one was 645. You had a couple semi-drivable holes that really weren't drivable. They maybe for a handful of guys, so I got myself all tweaked out. But the reason why the scores were way lower than I thought was, number one, they never tipped it out, right? Because we got that cold snap mat that came through. So you have to make the playing field somewhat fair. We all went off of one tee from probably 8:30 until 1 or something like that. So if you got lucky enough to warm up, if you start warming up at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, you're freezing your fucking cojones off, because it got to 34 or 35 degrees and there was frost everywhere. And if you teed off those first few days anywhere from 8:30 to, let's say, 10:30, 10:45ish, it was still in the low 40s, ball go nowhere, and okay, the marquee players, I mean, they've earned their right to get premier tee times, especially in something like this, right? So they all tee off later when it's nice and sunny, and we never saw it super tipped out, but I was way off. It's funny, I'm not the only one that was way off, because I was talking to Troy. We were posted up on some hole on Friday, and I'm like, oh man, I go, you want to know something foolish? He goes, no, tell me something foolish. And I go, I fucking said, told everybody on the podcast I thought 9 under was going to win it. He looked at me and he goes, it's going to be 10 to 12. He goes, it'll be 10 to 12. And I'm like, oh, I didn't feel that bad because here's a PGA Tour player for 10 years, kind of agreeing with me. It kind of pissed me off because I thought I'd land on 12 and you would get all the, way to go and that kind of stuff. So Rory ends up winning it. Rory ends up winning at 17. And I will say that is no surprise. We never got into the who do you like this week, who don't you like this week.
So
So
that's the thing, because
yeah,
we had to do it on Wednesday. So I
yeah.
came out with my picks, Bobby,
Did
on
you have
and
Rory? Did you have Rory?
sure fucking did, Bobby.
Well,
Now
fuck,
the
congratulations. Go get
the
your 10%
miss,
on your dollar you made.
yeah,
Happy
but
birthday.
the miss that I had
Yeah.
was I was very high on Justin Thomas.
Yeah. Ooh, stinky week for Justin Thomas last
He
week. It's
he
always fun
had it
running. Yeah, go ahead.
Thursday,
Yeah.
and then come Friday, he
Oh
had
yeah, the
a
putter.
big hiccup. Well, he also, so I'm not quite sure if it was a double or a triple, because the broadcast was saying that it was a
Yeah.
triple, and then
Yeah, but it
score
was a
wise, it
double.
was a double.
It
Yeah.
was a double. I was watching it. I was already finished with my round. I was watching it in the caddy thing, but I looked at it the same way you did. He had the, let's say, 18 to 25 footer for what they said was bogey.
Yep.
He ran that one by, missed that one. And I looked at another caddy and I go, was that for fucking triple? And then I think he steamrolled that into a bogey the following hole too. And he never got his,
You do that out there, and you miss
yeah.
that short putt.
And those
It's
greens were
tough.
pure. Those greens were pure, but I can tell you something, they were fast as shit. Never seen so many guys run. I've never seen so many caddies and players when somebody hits a putt where you're like, oh, it's got to go a little, and the next thing you know, it's running 6 feet by the hole. So they were we never really got any wind. I think that was the reason why scores were as low as they were.
Well, Bobby,
Okay,
I'm going to
I'm gonna
steal a
do
line from you real quick, because
it.
remember the U.S. Open, and you're like, I thought that the scores would be this, but then I have to remind myself that these guys are the best
Yeah,
players in the
totally,
world. You
totally.
had the top guys in the world playing this week, and that's
Yeah,
why. So, for instance, we had
yeah,
Rory, we had
yeah.
Rahm, we had Scheffler, and we had Thomas as our picks for the week. So we
Right,
got basically 2 out of the 4,
right, right. Well,
50-50.
okay. If I would have picked, I would have told you that this golf course is tailor-made for Rory McIlroy, and the reason why is because he's Rory McIlroy, number one, and the fairways, other than a couple you have to pay attention to, maybe like on 13 is probably a pretty tight driving hole. Other than that, you can just fucking ship it. And the fairways, literally, like the fourth fairway out there, this par five, that's 645, is literally over 100 yards wide. So, when he's got the driver going, and I know his speed was way up to a buck 85 or something all week, because he was hitting these hellacious seeds where I'm watching on TV and I'm like, it's not even fucking fair, because my guy was struggling with the driver, and they put a tee back on 9 a couple times when a northeast wind kicked in, and my guy couldn't even get around the corner. I mean, you're hitting to this a green that's about the size of number 7 Pebble Pebble Beach with 3 irons and 4 irons and with water
Oh,
on the right,
that's nasty.
and you try and miss in a left bunker, and the bunkers. Okay, so there's greenside bunkers on the course, and then there's tons of waste areas on the course too, right? But none of them are considered bunkers. So there was considered that there were no bunkers in place. So they weren't, as far as caddy wise goes and that kind of stuff. Yes, they were manicured and that kind of stuff, but they weren't like creme de la creme manicured, where it was a different sand. It was kind of fluffy. You could have 4 and 5 irons that were plugging for some unknown reason. All the faces of the bunkers were all kind of like cemented down, so everything rolled hot going back in. And you know what happens when a ball rolls hot back in off a face? It seems to bury itself a little bit and get covered up. But let me go down the leaderboard a little bit. Rory McIlroy, new number one in the world, new old number one in the world, 17 under par.
Are you
What an
happy about
exhibition!
that one?
I'm not. I would have picked him, but more importantly, remember I was telling you that there were a couple guys that I didn't like because I followed him in a
Yeah.
practice round. One was Harris English, and I'm glad for a quick second I didn't say that on air, because I noticed on Thursday he got to 3 under real quick. He backpedaled real quick after what I saw, and he finished 40th. And remember I told you I walked 9 holes with Jordan Spieth, and I
Yep.
was just fucking frazzled. I had to go walk the backside again because I couldn't make sense of anything that he was saying, and I think he stunk it up pretty bad too. So
It
those
did.
would have been the two guys that I would have bet against. But hey, what an exhibition by Rory. It shows that he's the best in the world. And honestly, You know, with Dustin Johnson on the live to with Dustin Johnson on the live tour, I mean, to me, those are the two big players when they're flip a coin when those two are. Wouldn't it be awesome to see Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson go at it, firing on all cylinders, having their ace
Ah,
hit for 4 days straight? That's what people would come to play for. I still think Dustin's a funner player to watch because you never know what you can get with him. You know, you could get something super duper skanky that he turns into a birdie, and I think Rory's probably a little bit more consistent. But a little shout out to Kurt Kitayama. I believe he went to UNLV,
yeah.
cut his teeth over on the European tour. He lives in Vegas. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken on this, but I'm going to say his rookie year last year, Matt, he might have missed the first 6 or 7 or 8 cuts in a row. And then he started going super Yahtzee, and he's been in force. He's been popping up on leaderboards for months now. Can I tell you something about this CJ Cup? You know, so they're based out of South Korea, right? So if you're a really good South Korean player, you get exemptions. They give out probably 12 or 15 KPGA, top 5 on the KPGA, and then they go down world rankings for Koreans and that kind of stuff. So I've worked for Koreans in these kind of scenarios. And somebody asked me, they're like, who would be the Korean player to beat? And obviously everybody would say Sungjae, right? And a couple of
I
my
wouldn't.
buddies. Yeah, no, you want to know why? It's because I work for him in a CJ Cup, and it's too much pressure for Sung Jae's brain. He can't handle that kind of pressure where he's supposed to win because he's the best South Korean player out there. Blah 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 blah. He's getting pulled left and right with media obligations and interviews and that kind of stuff. So Siwoo, same goes with Siwoo because he's hitting and miss. He's not as consistent as Sung Jae, obviously, but I worked for him in a CJ Cup too, and you could just tell he just wasn't. It was too much pressure for it. It was just too much pressure for them. But I will tell you, with this table of caddies before the week started, they go, who would be the one Korean that would be unfaced? And it was obvious to me it was KH Lee, and he finished because he doesn't get
Sexy
wrapped.
man.
The sexy man just is very quiet. There's no shenanigans. He probably handled his media perfectly because all the media attention is probably on Sungjae, right? And then probably Siwoo second. So he kind of flew under the radar, threw a bunch of rounds up in the mid 60s, 67, 68, finished 15 under, had a fantastic week. Who else do I want to talk about here? Okay,
Well,
so
what about Ramen Fleetwood?
I mean,
T4?
Fleetwood, fuck. Who gives a fuck about
No,
Fleetwood?
but
He's
here's
the
the
best in
thing
the last
though.
2 or 3 years. He,
Fleetwood started with a
go ahead.
73 and then goes 66, 66, 65.
Big fucking deal. I mean,
Well, he's got
yeah,
hair like
I mean,
Jesus. He
yeah,
looks like homeless person sometimes when he wears some of the
yeah,
clothes,
and
but
he's a great dude, and he's got a guy named Finno on his bag. Do you know what his caddy looks like? Finno. He's about fucking 6'9", 265, right? He looks like fucking Shrek, only the human version of Shrek, and he talks in this English UK dialect that when he has a conversation, he'll sit down at your table and blah, 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 and go through all that. And you just shake your head yes. And then he walks away and you make sure that he's way away before you pop up and say this. And then you look at the other guy at the table and you go, what the fuck did he just say? I don't know, but he was very adamant. But I'm happy for Tommy because that's the first time Tommy's been in the mix and
in a
probably
while.
in a couple years. Want to hear? I'm going to go over my very bad week, but you know how I was saying this is a bomber's course and that kind of stuff. How about Brendan Todd, who is probably the shortest hitter off the tee on the whole PGA Tour,
What
but he
did he
can roll.
finish?
He finished T7 -11, and he
No
was in the
shit.
mix, and he was consistent all week. Want to hear the feel good part about Brendan Todd?
Yeah.
He fired a caddy. He's fired his caddy, this guy named Kurt Kowalik, who is kind of you wouldn't know who he was. He's worked for James Hahn a little bit. He worked for Danny Lee for a long time, took some shit, but he's kind of a control freak caddy. Do you know what I mean? It's like it,
Yep.
it has to be when you get paired with him, it's like he thinks he's the player, and that's the way he talks to his players. Like, no, bro, I can't put you there. No, we can't do this, or you can't lay up here. Everything's no, you can't do it this way. It's got to be my way. So I guess Beton gets rid of him. Who does he hire on a trial for 2 or 3 weeks? Ryan Goebel, Will Zalatoris, his ex. And how about that?
Wow.
Do you ever think that some caddies just are, because I think I fit in this category, not the last few tournaments, but I feel like when some caddies get a new player, that those caddies are lucky, or they just have or sometimes it's just a fresh face, or something like that. But this Ryan Goebel, man, he loses Zalatoris. He's probably on suicide watch, even though he made $1 million, for a month or so. And then he shows back up with Brendan Todd, and he hits a big lick, a top T7 in this
That's
person. I
awesome.
probably paid 350, 400,000. I mean, in caddy terms, that's probably 25 to 32 grand, somewhere around there. How
It's not
about
a bad
taking
week.
not a bad week at all. I'll take that. I'm in like 4 grand. Fuck. We'll go
God
into
damn
mental
it,
nightmare
Bobby.
later. Who else I want to talk about? Oh, I told you I went out early and walked. And I mentioned this in Detroit. You want Bobby Brown's bold prediction for the
Mm-hmm.
year? Jason Day's going to win a golf tournament this year. I'm calling it right now. He finished
I like that.
he finished T11 -10, but I told you in Detroit he was a player to watch. And then where did we go to when we went somewhere right after Detroit? And remember, we told some of our viewers, and I think I got a
It was
message.
Memphis.
What was it?
Well, it was
Yeah.
Memphis,
Was,
right?
was it Memphis? And
Yeah.
then he WD'd. He played pretty good the first day, and then he WD'd because of his back. But I saw something in him when I was out there Sunday walking around, just me and him and his caddy, and his attention to detail and his preparation looked like the Jason Day from 7, 8 years ago when he was quite arguably a top 5 player in the world. So good for him to have a good week. Your boy Tom Kim -10 under T11. He was right there all week
Little
too.
Dicky
And
Tom Kim. Got him.
let me tell you something. Brendan Todd and Tom Kim are probably not in the top 10 or close to the top 10 if they stretch that thing out, but they made it kind of friendly to kind of level the playing field. I think somebody already wrapped up rookie of the year, and we're not even through the fall series. And I'm gonna say that's Taylor Montgomery. T13 fired 60 fucking 2, 9 under with 2 bogeys on Sunday. I think that was the best round by 3 shots. I didn't even see 62 through 16 holes out there, much less through 18. So I'm calling him. There's going to be your rookie of the year. I'm calling it early. Let's see how
Wow,
stupid I
folks.
am on this.
Take that to the bank.
Yeah.
Put
Yes.
put
If
your
you can
life
get
savings on that.
whoever's in Vegas, if you can get rookie of the year future action, bet Bobby B at oh wait, I better not say this. I could get suspended by the PGA Tour because we're not allowed to gamble. Scratch that. Go Padres. Sungjae, obviously I had a shitty week, but I did get a case. Sungjae finished 34th. I hang out with his caddy a lot. Billy, we're pretty close guys, and he didn't have a very good Saturday. And Billy and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And he's like, well, I told his agent it finally wore him down. The pressure of this big Korean-based tournament and the media pulling at him left and right. And, at the golf course, 10 or 11 hours a day, you play 18 holes, or you play your practice round, or you play your tournament round. And then you got to go do media, and then you eat lunch, and then you come back out to the range. And the next thing you know, it's dark out. So he obviously ran out of steam. But I was having a shitty day on Sunday with like 3 holes to go and that kind of stuff. And I was there. Who were we paired with? Oh, another cool Korean, Ben On, who got his status back out here. And he's got a caddy that works for him named Bird Dog, who's a pretty good dude. He's from Scottsdale. He lives in Scottsdale. And we were standing on 16T, and you can see over 15 green into 13 fairway, and 13 is a pretty good hole. It's like the tightest driving hole on the course. And and then Sungjae and Billy were in the middle of that fairway, right? And the wind's blowing, and we kind of had this light and variable wind that would kick up to 10 miles an hour out of an opposite direction, just what you want as a caddy than it's supposed to be. So you got to back off. So I'm watching Sungjae and Billy talk about the shot, and he backs off once and he backs off twice, and he hits this pure looking iron. I have no idea where it's going. It's 13. It's a front pin though, and I'm like, oh, I wonder how that shot is. And then you see the ball land, and Sungjae's shoulders drop, and he's pointing at Billy, and he's just yapping and yapping. And I tap Bird Dog on the tee. I go, look, Sungjae's giving Billy a fucking earful right now. And Billy just takes off walking down the fairway, and Sungjae's like chasing him. And I don't know why I'm telling this stupid story, but it made my Sunday go a little bit better that I wasn't the only one having a crappy day. And then of course he got it. He got it up and down. I could tell he was short. He got it up and down. He just tapped in and that kind of stuff. But let's talk about my week.
You did. You had a tough week.
Don't ever let me go walk a golf course 3 days ahead of time with thinking that I'm going to work myself, work my player out of a slump, because it has nothing to do with me whatsoever. When they're
Yeah,
out of
but
sync,
Bobby,
they're
you
out of
know what
sync.
though? You
What?
keep working like that.
I
I
know. I've been doing
mean,
it my whole life.
you
I
you
know. Good
you
things
you
happen.
are eventually going to catch lightning
Oh,
in a bottle. I mean, Troy's Troy. He's going to like have his stretch of tournaments. We know it's
Uh,
coming. It's just
uh,
you got to get past the new putter. You got to get past these little things that
Yeah,
are
that's it.
happening
That
right
new
now.
putter needs to go. That new putter needs to go bye-bye. It wasn't so much the putter, but I'm gonna tell you this. I knew he was suffering from jet lag all week. I could tell after Tuesday's practice round that he was upset with the length of the golf course, and he was being a little bit sassy for him, which it's sassy slash negative, which is unlike Troy Merritt, and he was kind of being a little bitch, like even during the practice round for the first 4 holes, and I kind of called him out. I don't know if I overstepped my boundaries, but finally I looked at him and I'm like, what did you fucking think you're going to be able to play Hilton Head 14 times a year? I wish that we played Hilton
Wow.
Head 14 times a
Dropped it
year.
on him,
So,
Bobby.
well, a little bit. You have to put it in perspective. And when things weren't going good all week, or he made a bogey or a couple bogeys, and we made plenty of them, I would just whisper in his ear, Hilton Head's 20 million this year, bro. Hang tough. Hilton Head's 20 million. My man is out of sync. He has no rhythm. I can't figure. The coach wasn't around. Steve Dalby wasn't around. I can't figure out. I had a long talk with him this morning. The coach. He just doesn't look comfortable over the golf ball. Can I say something about the world's best players? Here's what I got to
Yes.
say about that. These guys can make the game look so fucking easy sometimes, Matt. It is ridiculous. I have worked for Troy Merritt. I've worked for all of these guys that when they're firing on all cylinders, they make the game look so fucking easy. And then sometimes when things aren't going very good, they can make this game look very difficult. And you're talking about Troy Merritt, a top 100 player in the world. Of all the millions and millions of people, this guy is a solidified top 100 player in the
For
world
years.
for forever,
Yeah.
right?
For
Forever. And
years. For a
and he
decade plus.
and he does nothing flashy. Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, "Let's go watch Troy Merritt play golf." Right? He just gets it done and goes about his own business. But he is out of sync. He's got no rhythm whatsoever. He putted okay. Hey, we made 6 birdies on set just because as a little teaser, he made 6 birdies and 3 bogeys on Saturday, and he shot 3 under, and that was decent golf, but it still didn't look great. The score might have said 3 under was a great score because 5 under was the lowest score of the day with the wind blowing, but it just didn't look great. He just happened to get the ball in the hole, and then Sunday rolled around, and you tee off on Saturday at like T67, and all of a sudden you shoot a little 3 under, and you get home after driving home from Charleston to get away from the cricket factory, and you're T47, and you're like, fuck, another 3 under tomorrow, and we're going to finish T28 or T29, get us some points, because
That's what
honestly,
I
at this
thought.
stage of the game, bro, you just
Remember what
don't.
I said last week?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
come the
yeah.
weekend,
Don't
he's
ever say
just
that
gonna be
again.
like, yeah,
The
never.
only thing that could have made it worse is if you showed up on Sunday wearing that fucking shirt that you're wearing right now. That would have really made it fucking worse. But anyways, we had a shit day. We had a shit day on Sunday, and we played the last 5 and 5 over. And my guy doesn't have a temper, right? But he got squirrely like on, what was it on? I think it was on Friday. On Friday on number 15 is a hole that is like 360 front, but they can move it. They moved it up the tees during the weekend, but it doesn't help us because we don't hit it far enough to cover this 300-yard bunker into the wind and or even come close to front edge. But he had just that janky stroke hadn't shown up. And then on Friday on 14, he was 5. It's like we had the same day was Groundhog Day, where we were like 1 under through 12, like on Thursday and Friday, right? Where you
I
get some
saw
wedges
that.
in your hand and you feel like, oh, we can get some momentum if we make another birdie or something like that. So on 14, he had a pretty good shot. It's a pretty good par three, 230, 235 or something like that. And he's got a little 3-footer to clean up for par. And then we move on to the next hole and he jacks it, right? And he's up and out of that putt and misses, right? And he fucking loses his shit. He is pounding the bag. He's just doing things that Troy Merritt doesn't do. And then we get to the next tee, man. I don't even know if he knows about this. Well, he knows I do this podcast, but I don't know. I will probably find out very soon after I tell this next story if he really listens to it or not. Oh, by the way, happy birthday, Troy. It's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Troy.
It's his birthday today. I think he's 37. I don't even know. He knows how old I am, though, because it shows when I'm out there not having a good day. So, anyways, we get to this 15th hole, right? And we're playing. I don't even know who we were playing with, but Andrew Putnam and somebody else. And he gets up and they have these big, gigantic water coolers that are CJ logo and that kind of stuff. And the other, whoever's teeing off first, Putnam and his caddy are talking about, what they're going to lay up to the right with it, whether a 3-iron, a hybrid, or something like that. Until I turn and I'm just minding my own business. All of a sudden, bam, Troy turns around and kicks the water cooler, right? Just fucking kicks it. And I'm like, Wow. Okay. Good job, man. Way to let it out. I would have been more worried, if he didn't show any emotion because he doesn't ever quit, right? He always gives 110%. And I totally respect that out of him. So it's not a driver hole. It's a 3-iron and the tees were up a little bit. So we get up there and he goes, well, I might as well fucking hit driver, right? And he pulls the fucking driver and the head cover off. And I don't ever get sassy with him. I respect him too much. But finally, I'm just like, fucking just whoa, 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 fucking slow down for a second. Just slow down. It's not driver. There's nowhere to hit it. He's like, I'm not going to cover that bunker with 3-iron. Look, it's into the wind. He's pointing his yardage book and everything like that. I go, the tees are up, Einstein. It's a buck 93 to cover that. You're going to get 30 on the fucking ground. This is going to fly 220. Anyways, highlight of my whole day. He took my advice. He hit the 3-iron. He hit a wedge in there to, well, probably our best wedge of the week, honestly, to like 15 feet, made the pot. And then we got home and he sent me a nice text and he's like, hey man, I'm sorry about, I lost my shit out there. That's not like me and that kind of stuff. And I appreciate you slowing me down on 15T. And I just told him back and I'm just like, hey man, it's golf. He goes, rest assured I was trying on every shot. And I'm like, Troy, you don't even have to tell me that. So I'm into Tom Brady and all those 30 and 30s. I just finished the Jimmy Connors one. It was actually pretty
Oh, Jimmy
good.
Connors is
Yeah.
good.
I
Winged
think it was
foot member.
1991 when he was like 40 years old or something like that. And Courier decimated him, I think, in the
Good
semis.
golfer too, Bobby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Guy
All
can
those tennis,
play.
no, those tennis players love their golf. Go figure. Sampras, remember I caddied for him, and those
Yeah.
guys, their hand-eye coordination is fucking phenomenal. But my point was, I wrote Troy back, and it's my favorite Tom Brady. It's my favorite Tom Brady line of all time. And you know what that line is, don't you? And I can only use it like once or twice a year. I use it on my kids all the time. I'd like to use it on Lori sometimes, but she doesn't ever listen to me anyways. But it is this: tough times don't last forever. Tough people do, right? And that's what I wrote Troy back. So we are just in a rut. He has been in a rut before. Um, we finished 67th. We had a horrible finish on Sunday. We were standing and he drove it in the fairway bunker last hole of the day on 18, and you got to cover water. And it's just like, let's get it over with and that kind of stuff. So we're waiting for the green to clear and that kind of stuff. And he looks up and he smiles and he goes, don't worry, Bob, it's almost over. And I'm like, and he gave me this big kind of lecture before he hired me. We were talking on the phone before he hired me. And he's like, hey, the last caddy I have for this guy named Wayne O'Drano, who's a good caddy. He goes, one of the reasons why I decided to make a move, because when things weren't going good, he'd wanted to rah me all the time and keep pumping me up and that kind of stuff. And I appreciate the enthusiasm, but I've been doing this for a long time and I may get pissed off, but rest assured, stepping into the next shot, I am focused and I don't really need that. But I can tell you, as a caddy who has been a rah guy, and my personality is to be a rah guy, that there is an awkward silence that goes on between a player and a caddy when all hell's breaking loose. And I don't mean good hell, I mean bad hell. And I fucking had to bite my tongue so many times last week where I just wanted to say something. I just wanted to keep him talking or keep his mind off of it. Usually it's with a bottle of water or a snack or just something to deviate what's going on. But he doesn't eat on the golf course and he doesn't drink very much, which is surprising to me. But all I could think about saying was, Hilton adds 20 million next year, bro. Hilton adds 20 million. So
It's
is
an
Hartford. So is
elevated
Scottsdale. All
event.
courses that you play good. So we finished tied for 67th. He made $18,000. I get 8% of that. That comes out to a little over 1,500. I get my wage, my salary, which I'm not telling anybody what it is, but it's minimum 2,000. It could be up to 2,600. So listen, I didn't pay for that shit ass hotel room. Micah picked it up. I drove back and forth. I got fed. And I guess in the big picture, there are a lot of people listening to this that go, oh, you took home, if you take home over $4,000 a week, every single week, the rest of, for a while you're working, you're probably doing pretty good. But we're all competitors out there. And, we're just in one of those deals. Like I said before, tough times don't last forever. Tough people do. So
That's right.
he is enjoying his birthday today and he's taking a little bit of break. And I hope he doesn't pick up his golf clubs for 4 or 5 days, which I know he's probably not going to. And then we'll move on to Mexico and Sea Island and close out the fall and see if we can't do some good. We played good at Sea Island, Mexico. Mexico last year, he backdoored a top 20 after barely making the cut, which is a good thing. And at Sea Island, he shot 9 under the first day, and he was kind of in the mix the whole way around. And I didn't think we finished 15th or 16th. So it's tournaments that he has good vibes on. You want to talk about Butterfield?
The good old Butterfield.
Butterfield,
Is this a
Bermuda.
Bobby? Is this a Butterfield at the
I don't know.
Bermuda
I don't know
Championship?
what the hell. I've never been there before, but I do know this. It blows about 30 or 40 miles an hour. I also know this. There's no bad fields on the PGA Tour, but this one sure ain't fucking strong. Want to go? Okay,
It
so
might
it
be
blows.
the perfect sponsor.
Okay,
Butterfield.
okay, Butterfield. I'm gonna give you.
Do you know
I'm
who's
gonna
playing
give
this
you.
week?
Okay, I'm gonna
I don't. I'm just gonna be
give.
honest.
You want to know who my 5 star? I'm going to give you a few guys that I like this week, but I'm going to give you my creme de la creme Bobby Brown 5 star pick.
Here
And
we
that
go.
person's name is Adam Schenk. I love Adam
Oh.
Schenk. He hits it. I know. I know. Don't say anything. He's been a gem of consistency for 2
It's
years.
spelled with an E, folks, not an
He
A.
hits it hard. He hits it low. He can putt. He can chip. I believe he's got. There's a big angle out there. I think you. I think I don't. I
Adam
think it probably
Shank.
tees off in the afternoon. But the big angle out there, I think, is you want to play first thing early in the morning, especially on the first day, and try and post something before the wind pumps out there. So I didn't look at his tee time, but Adam Schenk, I really like him last week. Like him this week. He's been
I
really
gotta
good. We
write this
played with.
down. Hang on.
Yeah, Adam Schenk as in Schenk.
Adam Shank.
Yeah, Adam Schenk. You
We're gonna
better
have an
write
episode on the worst golf names on the
well,
PGA Tour.
well, that's it.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
one of them.
yeah. The only worse one than that is if you get Sungjae Im that is paired with Brian Gay, and I've been in that pairing before, and you get the caddy. Oh, we're gonna lose some viewers over this. Maybe my brother Jeff. You get the caddy who's wearing I'm bib, and then on my right hand side is Brian Gay's caddy. So Adam
Stand
Schenk is
next
my
to each other
player
and
to
get a
beat.
photo shoot.
Hey, I got to see Adam Schenk up close on Sunday at Southern Hills at the PGA, and he was going Yahtzee early, and he made a big mistake on 17 trying to hit 3-wood on this drivable hole and made a number and tore his caddy a new one, Bird Dog, who's caddying for Ben on right now. Adam Schenk goes through caddies quite a bit, so I don't know if I should be picking him or not. But I like Adam Schenk. Man, I like Garrett Higo. I think Garrett Higo's getting
Gosh,
back
you've been
on.
high on Garrett
Yeah.
Higo.
Well, because he's got the Claude Harmon out of me, and you know I fucking hate Claude Harmon.
You
So I don't
do.
care what Brooks
You
Koepka
do.
said. I could tell you what Brooks Koepka said when he fired Claude Harmon, and he wasn't very nice to Claude Harmon then. Now all of a sudden he's giving Claude shout outs. Because Claude's the only fucking teacher that's rolling around LIV, probably. Hey, come take a look at this. Now all of a sudden he takes credit for everything. I'm going to give you a couple other guys that I like that I don't know if they're favorites or not. I'm not even into my long shot list. Are you writing this all down right now? Adam Schenk, Garrett Higo. I'm going to throw a name at you that nobody knows. Nobody knows, and he's a purest fucking ball striker, and he got through his rookie year and he played great the last 10 events, and his name is Callum Tarran. Callum Tarran from England is a ball striking motherfucker, and I feel like his ball flight is just going to cut through the wind. Write that down. Callum Tarran, Tarren. I'm going to give you another young potential future superstar that got through his rookie year and made it to the second playoff event, and that is a kid named Alex Smalley. Do you know this name, Alex Smalley? Rookie year last year, probably finished in the low 60s on the FedEx Cup event. Well, he's got that famous caddy, Don Donatello from the Big Break on his bag. Remember Don Donatello and Kip Henley, that Big Break number 2 or 3? These two guys actually think they're like really good golfers, Kip Henley and Don Donatello, which in the grand scheme of things, they are above average golfers, but they act like they can play on tour. They can barely caddy on tour. So sorry, guys. It's true. I've been fighting with Kip Henley for 2 years anyways.
Alex
Alex Smalley.
Smalley.
Yeah. Okay. Want to hear my
Are we
my
not to the dark horses yet? Was that not your
No,
dark horse
I'm giving
picks?
no, I'm giving people plenty of ammunition to yell at me and send me messages that I can't pick my ass after picking 9 under last week to win. Oh, would have got you T20.
All right, here we go. Dark horses.
I'm going to give you 3 long shots. I'm going to give you three long shots. Austin Eckroat is a rookie this year. He hits it hard too. He's from Okie State, Austin Eckroat. You know I'm high on my guy that used to work at Publix, Eric Barnes. Remember
Yeah,
Eric
you
Barnes?
are.
He's the middle-aged guy. He also hits it low with a little
I just
tail.
want him to play well just because of that story.
Yes. And there's another kid that made it through rookie year that got off to a horrible start last year that's been playing good golf for the last 6 or 7 months. He's very highly regarded at Stanford. He was on the Walker Cup team. His name is Brandon Wu, W-U, Brandon Wu. So those are my 3 long shots for all you.
We're gonna put that out there on social media. We're gonna see how this pans out for you.
Are you putting this on social media?
Oh, absolutely. This will go out tomorrow morning.
that shirt on there.
Yeah.
And then we gotta root for Micah. We gotta root for SH Kim. They didn't do very well last week in the CJ Cup.
Wait, they're going
Korean,
to
a lot of
Bermuda?
yeah, they're going well because he's a rookie. So all these rookies have to go to Bermuda to
Are
try
you
and get
not
points.
picking him?
I'm not because I think he's out of
Wow.
steam. I
Yeah,
think he's out of steam after the CJ Cup. Gotta be
that's
a
fair.
letdown after going to the CJ Cup to fucking Butterfield, whatever it's called, Butterfield, Bermuda, or whatever. But it is not a very good field. It could
It's
be.
a
I don't know. I just gave you one,
Butterfield.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names. Want to make a bet?
Yeah, I love bets.
You text me later. Don't do it
Okay.
now because I'm
Okay.
feeling kind of sassy. But you text me later. Those are my 7 guys. You can't copy me. You pick 7 guys, and we're gonna bet 100 pennies. We're gonna bet $1 on
You
who can
remember
pick the
what
winner.
happened
You
the
have to
last
win the.
time we bet 100 pennies?
Did I beat you?
No.
You beat me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah. I
bad.
caddy. I don't gamble,
Yeah,
bro. You know, caddying for a living is legalized gambling.
that's
So
true.
it was
Yeah, you're
bad.
gambling on yourself out there. Plus your player, plus your derby horse.
Go Adam Shake.
But Bobby, for you, your next stop. So since you've got this week off, what does Bobby Brown
Yeah.
do during a week off? Like, is this like you just go back and, or do you start reading caddying books, or what goes on? What's the
Well,
preparation on a
first of
week
all,
off for
you
Bobby
twiddle
Brown?
around with a pen and get ink all over your hands. Do you notice that? Because
Yeah,
you want to know? Okay, what do I do?
Bobby's got pen all
Yesterday,
over his
when I
hands.
got okay, so another one of the reasons why I came back is because Lori upstairs has been battling, like she was home from school all week last week. She's got like a strep kind of mono combo. She
Uh,
and went to the emergency
no
room one
bueno.
night, went to a doctor. When you make that drive back and forth, there's a big bump on the back of her throat. I'm thinking cancer. I can't raise 2
Oh,
boys by myself. I'm fucking 58 years old. I'm fucking frazzled. But
please
she's
tell me
doing
it
much
wasn't.
better. No, it
Okay.
wasn't. Well, no, it wasn't. It's fun. But you don't want to know when somebody's sick like that, you know what the first thing I do when I come home is I make this journey on Monday morning. I go Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Costco to the tune of about $1,000 to load everything up with supplies. Plus, I'm an
Love
anal
that.
cleaning motherfucker where the house has to be clean at all times. So I was doing floors today, constantly doing floors, and I'm always and I got my and it's getting close to Christmas, and my side business is sneakers,
Shoes,
right? So
sneakers.
so I sold a bunch of sneakers last week. I usually put up 10 to 20 at a time, and now I'm doing like these live bid auctions and that kind of stuff. So I had to ship out 20 pairs, and today I had to list another 20 pairs, taking pictures, writing all the description, and please come spend money, and my prices are better than everybody else. And of course, the highlight was my 9-year-old Riker had a soccer game, first night game tonight, and
Nice.
they tied 2-2. He thinks he scored a goal, even though he was offsides and it didn't count. But
That's okay.
yeah,
That's
he
okay.
scored a goal.
That's not
But
like a
I,
participation
yeah.
award. That's just like, hey, son, you were a
No,
half a step off, and
he's
my
really
God,
good.
that was
He's
amazing goal.
it was I didn't even say that. I didn't even say that because I'm like what I really wanted to say was when he was in the car and his mom's like, "Oh my God, you scored a goal." He's like, "Dad, I scored a goal." And I'm like, "I was fucking sitting 20 yards away from you. Got waved off." Okay, you were offsides and you were offsides fucking 4 plays in a row. Did I not fucking tell you last night for 10 minutes,
Uh,
sit your ass on the couch and tell you what the fuck offsides is? Okay, you cannot get behind a defender unless the ball is past you. Okay, that is cheating.
I
So
love that idea,
great.
Bobby.
And he goes, and what I felt like saying was, let's talk about the fucking duck goal that you gave up playing goalie in the first half that made it a 2-2 tie that went right through your arms, Mr. I can't focus. Want to know something about my 9-year-old? Pretty sure he's in that ADHD, ADD thing,
Yeah,
which I'm starting
a
to
lot of
notice
kids are,
more and more
Bobby.
because go figure, because he's this is moving all the time, or he's singing and that kind of stuff. And it's Troy was trying to explain it to me. Troy does a lot of reading and that kind of stuff. And Troy calls it a coping mechanism. Whatever a coping mechanism is that a kid like that, always has to be doing something when their brain sits still for a second, which makes perfect sense why he's into computers and coding and all that kind of stuff, which personally scares the shit out of me because it's not my age group. Coding, what the fuck is coding? I don't even know. But Andrew Putnam brought that up during Thursday. He was talking to Troy. He's like, "What's your boys into?" And Troy's like, "Oh, they're into sports. They're pretty good football players, and they're athletes and that kind of stuff." And all of a sudden, this coding thing came up, and I know my kids go to this coding camp during the summer, or this ninja coding thing, or something like that. And I'm like, I'm back there at 58 years old, going, Is
It's
that
the
what you
future,
put
Bobby.
under the paint? Is that
Bobby,
what you put
these
under the
kids,
paint? Is
these
that like
kids
primer
need to
coating?
no. These kids are going to be programming robots in the
I
future,
know,
Bobby.
I know, I know. And I brag on him because his God, I'm a shitty parent, but I'm just trying to prepare him for the future because his writing is not up to par. But then again, a little 9-year-old who just had a birthday dropped a note for him in the mailbox. Thanks for the gift. And I look at this kid's writing, and I'm like, oh, my kid's writing's fine compared to this hooligan down the street. And his math, and because I'm a self-proclaimed math guy, even though I failed algebra miserably. My kid can't do, I keep thinking my kid's me, right? And he could just do, I can do fucking snap numbers like that. It just, well, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's from caddying, I can just do them. God didn't give me much, but he gave me that where I can still fuck up a number sometimes, but I do them pretty quick. So I'm on them all the time and that kind of stuff. And then I was talking to Troy, and Troy's like, you realize none of this is really going to fucking matter when he's an adult, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Writing and math? And he goes, who writes anymore, Bob? I go, well, I write my yardage book all the time. And he goes, I don't think you're writing anything. I think you're just pretending to be engaged. And I'm like, I am right documenting everything. It's like when tell me, hey, that flew 138. I've already written it fucking down, motherfucker. You don't have to
Troy
tell
called you
me.
out on an early retirement there, Bobby.
So I'm not going to get so worked up because I've been over parenting according to Big Boss upstairs, but I'm just
Uh,
preparing my champions for the future. So 2-2 tie in soccer game. So I don't do much. I got to stay busy. You wonder why my kid, I think he's got ADHD. Look at me and listen to me talk 100 miles an hour. Guess where he gets it from? It's got to be from me. But I was
nah.
also explaining to him, and he's like, because I'm like, hey, you got to slow down and that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something different. I'm like, Riker, we have a lot in common, you and I. I struggled with this in school like you struggled. I struggled with that. But when you get older, you're going to figure out that this gift that you have, that God gave you, is actually a fucking gift, because I know so many successful people, and I never told them he has ADHD because I don't even know. I'm just taking a shot, or ADD, or whatever the fuck they call it. But I'm like, it's a gift when you find whatever you like. Coding, coding is perfect for ADD. You can sit there and you can just code all day, right? Just code. I'm coding, Dad. I'm coding. And I'm like, okay, I'm selling shoes because I'm 80 now and I can't caddy anymore. You got any live coming up this week?
That was the perfect transition slash segue.
Oh,
We went
I
from
need
coding to
live.
live golf. Here we go, Bobby. You ready
I
for
need my
this?
live
Oh,
fix.
this is my moment to shine here. We've got
50
the
million.
upcoming Live Golf Miami Team Championship. So my God, Bobby, they picked Durrell, which is right behind me. I've
Oh,
got my Live Golf shirt on,
yes, you do.
and I am ready for some parties in Miami. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things going down in Miami this week. There's
Yes.
a lot of money being thrown around, and
Yep.
these teams are very relaxed and very excited about the potential. Uh,
Nobody is happier that this is in Miami than Paulina Gretzky and Austin Johnson's wife, Samantha Maddox, and Jenna Sims. This is fuck the
oh
golf. This
yeah,
is
this is
all about
swimsuit season,
this is
bikinis,
all about
just
South Beach and the bitches. I
lots of
mean,
partying.
Paulina flew out all two of her friends from Southern California where they live, all two of them, and they're probably getting after it. But it's the big kahuna, right?
Oh, Bobby, this is
Would
where
you
it's
call
all
this
at.
would you call this the make or break tournament for live? Can
It
I tell you
is.
something? Can I tell you something that Lori threw at me when I walked through
Yeah.
the door on Sunday night? Did you hear Liv is going belly up on? And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, it's all over Facebook. That they're pulling the plug after these contracts are over with. They're not going to be shelling out billions of dollars anymore. And I'm like, I get right on social media. I'm coding, right? I'm trying to code where she found this, and I can't
That's where the
find it
segue comes in.
and I can't find it anywhere. But she goes, look, it's right here on Facebook. And I'm like, Facebook still exists? I didn't even know that.
Oh,
So
Zuck is going to be real upset with you.
I didn't find shit. I didn't find shit that they're honoring these contracts and then it's going bye bye. But
No, but
maybe
here's the
this week
thing.
is something.
Well, this is the telltale, right? So this is
Yeah,
going to decide whether or not that Live Golf is going to be made up of a lot of fans that are not golfers, that
right.
started going down the golf path because of the pandemic and then learn that Top Golf is this fun drinking avenue to have
Right.
more of a party atmosphere. Like, that's a lot. When I all the research I've done around this and paying attention to the live forums that have over 1 million people in there and just
Right.
kind of watching and observing, right? Because as a host, like, I do a lot of like, there's a lot of my perspective that comes into this.
Okay.
And when I look at everything, I'm just trying to absorb as much as possible. And the more that I've absorbed, and that New Yorker article last week was
Yeah.
pretty incredible as well, and opened my eyes to a couple things. One, the environment that's out there, because I haven't been out there myself yet. I'm going to at some point, probably next year, once they actually have some things, but there's a couple telling things. They changed this entire format around for a cable deal. They never
Yeah.
got that done.
Oh,
They
they did,
decided
didn't they? That's right. I didn't hear anything about that. What happened to the FS1, Fox Sports 1 that
they
they were going
got
to pay for?
pissed. And I mean, it's bad form at this point because somebody at Fox Sports, or well, Fox Network in general, because apparently there were a lot of executives at Fox that were very much against it. And how do you kibosh this entire thing? By leaking the details, because the details are not in Live Golf's favor. If
Mhm.
you have to pay for a cable deal and you're not getting paid by the cable company, and then in addition to that, you have to bring in your own advertisers, and because everybody knows with networks,
Mhm.
they're in charge of all the marketing. Those are
Right.
their dollars that they're going to share the revenue with you, but
Mhm.
they're the ones that want control over who's going to be advertising on your time slot.
Right.
And for me, when I saw that they didn't have when Fox Sports leaked that, and then Liv came out with the whole statement that we have several deals going on, this is inaccurate reporting, it's not correct. Well, why don't you have a cable deal in place if you had several in place? But they made all these changes, right? If you go back to that Golf Week article and look at what they had in place, or what they stated had in place, they basically changed around this entire format for this team championship weeks prior to the championship taking place for
Mhm.
this deal.
Right.
Now, they don't have that in place, and yet they kept everything the same. So
Yeah.
basically, what it's going to be, guys, is that you've got a knockout style tournament.
Mhm.
The top 4 teams get a bye the first day, and then you go 2 individual matches and 1 alternate shot for
Mhm.
those semifinal matchups. And then the final day, you've got everybody playing stroke play against each other. And that's going to be the 4 winning teams from the 4 remaining teams, let's say, that
Right.
move into Sunday. And that was the change. It was supposed to be the top 2 teams battle it out on Sunday, but the networks were
Yeah.
saying, that's too little amount of people playing.
Wasn't there a month ago or 2 months ago where I was telling you I was reading that here's how many times I know corny it was. Remember I was telling you I read an article that said that they were going to have team captains hit shots and whoever was closest to the hole on this certain hole was the number
Yep.
1 seed and the 2 seed and that
So
kind of
they
stuff.
changed that around. They
Right.
changed. So they based it off of the point system, which the point
Yeah.
system I'm much bigger fan of, but they get to choose. So those first group of teams, so there's
Right.
12 teams in total, the
Right.
8 teams that do not have a bye, the top 4 of those are going to be able to pick who they want to play against,
Right. Right.
which
In
is kind of
order,
ridiculous.
which means DJ's team, the
Well, they got a
Acer.
bye.
Did I say it right?
The
Acers?
aces.
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 Fuck, I still can't get it right. So, well, obviously they have a bye, but he'll get once when push comes to shove after the first 4. What'd you say? The first 4 teams get eliminated. Okay, so is this our farewell party to the Niblets? Harold Varner the third, Hudson
Yes.
Swafford, James Piot, and Turk Pettit. Thanks for coming, boys. Wonder how many of you guys are going to get
Yeah.
signed and get to play next year. Isn't that fucking stinky Bubba Watson's team too? Isn't he the non-playing coach of
I
that team?
think they're the last place team. I think they're 12th in
Yeah.
the entire thing.
Yeah.
Bubba is listed, but just as the captain
Yeah.
of the team
Gotcha.
captain because he's
Yeah.
still injured.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say can Live Golf survive, and this is going to be the litmus test. So this is going to be the one event, because what's the difference between the PGA Tour and Live Golf? The teams.
Right.
They are trying to play this whole team aspect, and they tried to bring fans in from the very beginning around some of the stroke play stuff, and introduce people to the team side of it, which I thought was smart. Like, not gonna lie, like that was a smart way to kind of get it going. And now you have the team championship. But where does Live Golf ultimately make their money? It is going to be in selling these team franchises to big time owners that are going to buy it. So when, for instance, when Tiger Woods was offered that big deal that got reported at close to $1 billion,
Yeah, that what's his name actually
apparently,
brought down.
well, here's the thing. Apparently, a lot of the value behind that offer
Right.
was projected value of being the team owner. So they
Gotcha.
were going to allow him to be the full team owner
Right.
of that team so that he could ride off into the sunset and be the owner of that squad
Right.
long term, like a George Steinbrenner, which now it's Hal Steinbrenner for the Yankees. Who knows who the Padres owner is? Nobody knows, but that's okay. But long story short,
Be nice.
these teams are supposed to be sold off, and that's where the money
Yeah.
is supposed to come back to the Saudis.
Right.
If that does not happen, and this is a flop of an event,
Right. Game over. Because this tour can't last the way it's going without this thing blowing up. Hey, even though I've been there to Doral numerous times and worked for Dustin probably there 5 or 6 times. And I will tell you that even though it says Miami, it's not like really close to Miami. You know
no.
what I mean? But I think they're going to get some people, and I'm sure they're schmoozing corporate wise these future possible investors for these teams, right? I'm sure they'll be all on campus to see to see how it goes. But honestly, if this thing flops and it doesn't go the F1 way that they're hoping it goes, then maybe that Facebook shit that Lori was talking about, maybe that's what these people are referencing that I never got to read, is that like this is the litmus, you said litmus, right? I
Yeah,
remember
the
that from
litmus test.
chemistry. Maybe this is the litmus test that if this thing flops, I wonder if they're going to get any people. I would think they're going to get some people
They're going
because
to get some people. It's
it's a
Miami. They're going to
It's a
throw a great
Trumpy
party.
joint. Yeah, it's a Trumpy joint. That's for
But
sure.
it was definitely an eye opener for the
Yeah,
Saudis. And did you see uh oh gosh, I'm going to blank on his name. The guy who is running the fund for the Live Golf side
yeah.
from Saudi Arabia. He works directly for the brand. Oh gosh, I'm gonna blank his name. Schroyer. Anyways, he in particular backtracked off of his
Yeah,
entire comments
I
around
read that.
we'll create our own major
Yeah,
championships. Well, guess what? When he saw that there was nobody at that Saudi Arabia event,
yeah. He
I mean, there
backtracked.
was
I read that.
nobody.
Yeah, I read that.
He
I read
backtracked hard on that because you do not want to be committed to all of a sudden being that guy to be jaded in the golf industry forever because you promised all these players that if they're not able to get into major championships, so you're going to build them their own. And then all of a sudden, 3 years later, all of a
that.
sudden it's all gone, poof, goodbye.
Yeah,
Like that's
right.
not a good strategy at all. So it's very telling that that took place. The Saudi Arabia event really was troubling for me because I expected at least like
100 people.
something, especially in like the
They don't
suites.
like Americans over there. Isn't that
Yeah,
proven
but this is
already?
for them, right? I mean,
Right.
it's by their own kingdom.
I know.
It's
I
just
know.
it's crazy, but this is why if this doesn't take off in Miami and this
Mhm.
isn't a big deal, one, they're not going to get the TV deal.
Yeah.
Two, they're not going to end up paying all this money for the TV deal because they've already been exploited. So it's not going to be from Fox,
Right.
which everybody thought it's going to
Nobody
be
wants.
from Fox
Mhm.
because Trump got on board with them. Trump's very big with Fox and everything. And
Mhm.
especially with the owner of Fox, that's not taking place now.
Yeah.
And if they fall back to that, then all of a sudden, all those same rumors and everything come back. It's a black eye on them. It's a black eye on the entire tour. And that's where this week, Bobby, I'm telling you, if somebody is out there listening and they are a big Live Golf fan, you better watch all 4 days and you better get pumped up about what they're doing with the team. I like the team aspect. I think the PGA Tour can actually, what will end up probably happening, this is my prediction, after watching it throughout the entire season. Granted, this is the inaugural season, right?
Right.
And the Saudis have a lot of money to have this last at least 3 years. So they have
Mhm.
a 3-year plan with this entire thing.
Mhm.
And when I look at it, I look at the XFL. And
Mhm.
then what happened with the NFL? They took everything that the XFL did good. And if
Mhm.
you're not familiar with the XFL, that's when WWE owner Vince McMahon came in and decided to create a loud. Oh, God, I can't believe I just said that, because what is Live Golf's motto? Get
Well, how
loud.
yeah. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's like, wow, it very much is the WWE versus like a real UFC type of event. And they're bringing this in. But what did the NFL learn from the XFL's failure? Everything they did well. They took all the camera angles, they started putting cameras. So all of the drone movements where they're on strings throughout the stadium
Mhm.
and they move them throughout and it just looks
Interesting.
natural,
Yeah.
that they stole from the XFL. I watched the documentary on that and I was shocked because Vince McMahon even talked about that. But this same thing is going to happen with Live Golf. And that's my prediction. The Live
And
Golf after 3 years is not going to be any longer. PGA
mhm.
Tour will eventually bring back in these guys that were shunned and blacklisted,
Yeah.
and they'll end up coming back into the tour at some point. But that being said, they'll be excommunicated for quite some time. Like, it's
Yeah.
not going to be after year 3
Right.
when it first fails.
Right.
Might be 5 years down the road. But the PGA Tour is going to learn, and they're going to take all the best aspects from Live Golf
Yep.
and build that into the PGA Tour. They're going to maybe have like a 4-event special fall series that
Yeah.
ends up being these
Yep.
team events, and they build these teams out, and it's going to get very interesting from that perspective. But that's my prediction.
Okay.
Again, we don't know if Live Golf is going to survive or not yet, Bobby. It's too early to tell.
Let's talk about how this could be the biggest fucking tournament of fat ass Pat Perez's life. Because if he stinks it up, he's fucking good night, Irene.
Gone.
He's got pressure like he has never had pressure. He's got pressure like he's never had pressure before. I mean, I
Pat's
already
got to hope that that they do not move past Saturday. I do not
well,
have them winning. I've got the
can I go, but just
fireballs.
back up. I fucking hate his guts and I can't pick them to win, but I know something. This is you. This is Mr. I picked 9 under to win last year. Listen to me. That course behind you, the Blue Monster, that's 18 right there. Let me tell you something. That is an experienced golf course right there. Think about it. Who are the only 2 guys in the LIV field that have won there? It's fucking DJ and Patrick Reed, right? It's a tailor-made course for fucking DJ. It's a fucking bomber's track. So I think, well, of course, any idiot's gonna be able to tell you that on paper they are the favorites on paper just because
They're
of
not my
DJ.
favorites.
Well, they're not your favorites, but I mean, Kepka, Kepka's got some experience there. Kokrak's a bomber, Uline's a bomber. You
But
said
then
it
you
when you
got
sent me the
Chase.
message. Everybody's got a weak link, right?
Exactly. That's what I
But you
messaged
don't
you
think the
before we came
Latinos
on.
have a
Yep.
weak link. You don't think the Latinos have a weak link,
No,
though,
I
do
don't,
you?
because you look
Oh,
at that squad. So you got Sergio
you're
Garcia.
going off of names, though,
No, no, no.
not
Hang on a
form,
second,
are you?
though. Sergio Garcia,
Ton of
he can
experience
still
there.
play. Ton of
Right.
experience,
Oh,
has
fuck,
played
man.
Derail for so many years.
I
You've seen
know.
him play well down there.
Yeah,
Then
I
you've
know.
got Abraham Answer, who hasn't missed a fairway since 1979.
He just finished 7th. That's like his best finish since Memphis, well over a year ago. Because I told you my theory was that he got hurt at San Antonio last year and hadn't been the same. But continue on. I'm not going to interrupt you because I respect the Latinos.
Well, here's the thing. Then you got
Carlos Ortiz.
Carlos Ortiz, who is
Oh,
striving.
Carlos Ortiz.
He
That's
that
how he talks. That's my
my,
imitation.
no, that
I
was
do really
actually,
like it. Like the 6 iron, you like the 7 iron.
oh
I
my
think
God, that was spot on.
sorry.
Folks, Bobby has a talent of listening to voices. I'd never want Bobby to do my
Well,
voice. This
well,
will this will
should
destroy
I?
me. It will destroy me.
Did
I
that
feel like
sure you.
I have a very Caucasian voice. I don't think I have. But if you ever do my voice, I might just have to pack it in and retire. But Carlos Ortiz, that was spot on. I've heard his interviews on Live, and he's gotten more airtime because of Live. But
Right.
shit, Bobby. That was so
Carlos
good.
Ortiz, one time we were at Charlotte on number. I gotta tell this quick story where I got that invitation from. Because he talks like this, right?
He does. He's
He
very
talks
much
exactly
so.
like that. And he's the nicest guy, but he's Latino, which means he's a fucking handful on the fucking golf course. He gets so pissed it is fucking
Dude, he
ridiculous.
talks a
But
lot, Bobby, out
yeah,
there.
10, I'm walking through the holes, 10, 11, 12. 13 is this par three. You saw it. I don't know what number it played in the President's Cup because it wasn't, I don't think it was 13 because they rerouted it. So he had this famous caddy working for him that is now working for oh my God, he's working for Joaquin Neiman. His name's Gary.
Oh,
His name's Gary, but we call him Animal. His nickname's Animal because he can get after the sauce in his early days, and they just called him the Animal because he was super aggressive. So
well,
we're
he's on
standing
Live
on third.
Golf now, Bobby, so he's
The
still
win,
getting
yeah,
after it.
yeah, he's getting after it. He doesn't have to pay for it now. So we're on 13 and the wind's kind of all over the place. And he's like, "Oh, Gary, what do you like?" He said, little 6 iron or 7 iron or something. What do you think? I see a little six, Gary. I feel a little six. And Gary's like, "It's seven, man. It's fucking seven." And Gary's got an accent, right? He goes, "Oh, Gary, I don't know. I think I feel like a 6 iron, maybe a little hold against the wind." He's like, "Fuck, man. The wind's all over the place. It's a fucking perfect number for a 7 iron." He goes, "Okay, Gary, no reason to get yelling. I hit the 7 iron." He hits it up there like about 8 feet, right? He hands Gary the cup. He goes, "Okay, Gary, that was a good call. That's a very good caddy call, Gary. Okay, thank you, Mr. Putt." So that's
I'm
my
dead
story.
right now. I'm fucking dead. I mean, you nailed it. You absolutely fucking nailed it. You should be on a fucking comedy sketch. That's
Oh, one of these
amazing.
days.
Holy
I'm
shit,
caddying so
Bobby.
shitty right now. I gotta fucking
Ah,
do something. So
I
you like
mean,
the so you like the quesadillas? Just be
I
honest.
do.
Like,
Well, here's the thing. Then you got Chikara, which just won. And so you've got Sergio. Like the one question mark on that team was
right,
Chikara. He
right.
just won.
I think Carlos Ortiz has never seen it before. I think he's a question mark. I don't think Abe Answer's seen it before. It's a
You
question mark.
think
I'm
Ortiz is
gonna,
a question mark?
yeah. What do
That
you?
guy's playing some fucking golf, bro.
I'll settle down now, Matty. So don't get so high on me. It's a too much pressure. Hey, listen, can I tell you one thing about Doral? There ain't no in between. Either you fucking love it or you hate it because half the guys love it every time that I've been there, and the other half are on the driving range going, "This is the fucking dumbest fucking course. I can't believe this and I can't believe that." So
A lot of
we'll see
water,
how it goes.
Bobby.
One thing I know for sure, the Nibliks are done. Harold Varner the third. It's pretty, you don't have a good team when Harold Varner the third is your fucking lead pony, do you? That's not a
No.
very good team. Hudson Swafford, do you think at some point Hudson Swafford, the last fucking 3 months, is going, "Oh shit, I fucked up by
Actually,
something in this
Bobby,
deal"?
you know what? You raise a very good point, and I want to point this out because this actually, I'm going to come to the defense of Harold Varner III. We shit on him, but he might have made one of the best calls of going to live golf, period.
Yeah, because he was just an average player. Listen,
Yes,
I
he
know
shouldn't have
all
gotten
the,
shit on the way that he
listen,
did. We
I
shat on him too, by the way.
I'm no okay. Number one, I'm not shouting on him. I'm just giving my honest opinion because Harold Varner is African American, and I know what the fuck has been happening. We all do. You have to be in a closet to see the way that they've been treated, and it's
Yeah.
fucking pathetic. But I am not shitting on him whatsoever. My whole fucking point was, and it's going to bring up your point, is that yes, it was a fucking good call because Harold Varner was never really close to winning a fucking golf tournament out of here, no
Exactly.
matter what anybody fucking says or
He
just
was
because
at
they
his
need to run
peak,
it.
and
What?
he was at his peak.
Yeah. Peak. What's the peak? What's the peak? Finishing 13th at fucking Hilton Head, or you made two cuts in
Didn't he
majors and
win
you won?
internationally or no?
Yes, he won internationally, but for the love of God, so did Adrian Otagie win last week. So, oh,
Who
Gary,
the fuck is
these
Adrian
things, Gary,
Otagi? That's your point, I know.
God, well, he was on Live too, and they blackballed him. They didn't even do any fucking interviews with him. But
But
anyways,
no, we
I'm
listen, he might have made one of the smartest decisions. By
yeah,
the way, who else? Peter fucking Uline made the
yeah.
best
Well,
decision he's ever
yes.
made in his life.
But he's fucking good. I would have taken, I would have looked like an idiot because 10 years you would have told me, "Oh, do you take Peter Uline or do you take Harold Varner who's going to make more money on the PGA Tour?" And I would have laughed in your face saying it was Peter Uline. And now I guess you just got to just switch the names from PGA Tour to Live Tour because Peter Uline's made a fucking mint the last few
He's
weeks on the Live.
crushing,
Yeah.
Bobby.
And
This
he's a
kid has
bomber
found
too.
his
That's why I
route.
like that Kepka team a little bit, minus Kepka, because those are
I
three
did
bomb
look at them too. I did.
Kepka, Kokrak, and Uline, but I know fucking Kokrak. I worked for him for 2 years. He got his fucking money. If I play good, I'm gonna play good. He's not working like
I don't
he was
think
never
he's
a
going to
real
stripe it
worker.
out at Durrell. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I think he's
Yeah,
going to bomb it. I think he's going to hit it quite a few in the water.
Yeah.
And with that, is he going to keep his shit together?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, no, he's probably not.
Yeah.
And then you got Chase Koepka, who is also a weakness. And it's
Yes.
like, and Chase, I'll give Chase credit. Like, you and I talked about him being on the driving range, and like if you heard his ball striking versus others, like
Yeah.
you're going to hear a significant difference. But
Yeah.
he has played well in a couple of events to where
Yeah.
he's done okay. Like
Yeah.
he respectable. I mean,
Well,
that's the biggest
respectable
thing I
for a
can
40
say.
some respectable for a 40 some man field is easier to be
Exactly.
respectable than a 144 man field. But I just can't fucking wait to see what fucking Perez does. I hope he shits the fucking bed so bad. I have never wanted anything so bad in my life.
Bobby, do you
Well,
think that they make it on a Saturday? Because they have to play against somebody on Saturday.
yeah.
Do you
I
think
think
they
they're the
make it to
team.
the championship?
Well, I think they're the team to beat just based off of DJ and Patrick Reed being
But
past
that's only
champions
for
there.
Saturday. Saturday, that
Right.
makes sense because,
Yeah.
and I agree, I think they'll get
Right.
out of Saturday because it's
Yeah.
the two, so it's a match between the two best players
Right.
of each team, and then
Right.
the other two play alternate shot against the other two. I
Right.
think they can end up getting beat.
Okay, so what's the format on Saturday again?
So Saturday, it is the top two players play match play against each other for the two teams. Then you have an alternate shot. So basically, how
For
it's going to
the for
go
number okay, so
is
number one and two play
DJ's
head
going to
to head.
play. If this was against the Fireballs, for instance, let's use them as an example since I
Well,
got all the guys
let's
up
use
here.
let's use this match. Let's use this match, even though it won't happen because I have
Okay.
that in front of me. So DJ would go against Kepka,
Yep.
right?
Chase. Or no, not Chase. Brooks.
Against Brooks. It has to be the number one against the number one.
No, but they'll pick it. And so
Okay.
that's where you're going to go with your top guy. It's going to be
And then
Brooks versus DJ.
and then you would go Reed against Uline or Kokrak. Which one?
I would go Uline if I was the captain of
Uline.
that squad.
And then Gooch goes against okay. So those two are the individual matches, and then the
Exactly.
other ones are alternate shot.
shot.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
where this gets interesting. Like if
So interesting.
this is a good event for them,
Yeah.
because we haven't really seen this type of dynamic
Yeah.
before.
Right.
Like this could be interesting. But if this fucking flops,
Right. So what happens on Friday then? Who plays on Friday?
so the 8 teams out of the 12 that were the last 8 teams.
Okay.
And then whoever's ranked the highest in terms of points gets to pick who they want to go against. So
Okay,
that's
so
where
there's
that's all
four-
going to go. And then
Four teams
that's
go
gonna lead
by
in.
4 teams advance to Saturday out of Friday's matches. Oh, I got my whole weekend planned for me right now.
This is going to be interesting. I'm going to watch because
Well, chalk up a notch for YouTube. I'm going to have to watch this because I'm probably not, because I don't know what the time difference is there, Butterfield, but Dustin Johnson or Adam Shank. Dustin Johnson or Adam Shank. I probably know which one I'm probably going to.
dad joke central here. It is a butter field.
Yeah, it's Butterfield.
It's not Butterbean, folks. He was much more entertaining.
You know what the funny thing about that Butterfield is though? Whoever wins that motherfucker gonna be in Maui the first week of January next year.
Wow.
It is a
How
full
about
FedEx
that
Cup,
shit?
full FedEx Cup event. And want to know something else about Butterfield? God, this could be a bold statement because Taylor Montgomery's not playing there, but there's probably a player in that Butterfield thing that's gonna make $20 million in his career. You never know. One of these young guys could pop up off the Corn Ferry Tour. You just never you never know, man.
No, this is the tournament for the young guys, and for the golf purists out there, pay attention this week to the Butterfield Bermuda.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing the same. Like I'm going to be going, listen, the YouTube event, it's going to be recorded. It's going to be on YouTube throughout. So it's on demand basically.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm going to watch that whenever I want to. But the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, I'm going to be watching that pretty intently just to see who those young guys are, or, just the guys who show up and decide, you know what, this week is my week. That's going to be pretty interesting in my opinion, but that's from a purist standpoint. That's from somebody that's obsessed with golf and looking at it from, hey, who's going to be...
You don't think my Friday's going to be awesome? I get to wake up and watch, Butterfield early in the morning and then check that out all during the scores all during the day and then throw in some livey divvy and lovey dovey and 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 there we have it. My whole
Bobby,
week.
who do you like this week for the Live Golf? Which it sounds like you're on the smash.
I am going to be on the smash because I'm anti-fat ass fucking douchebag Pat Perez, so I can't
I'm
ever, ever,
Fireball.
never, ever, ever, never root for him. So I'm gonna be on the smash,
Can
man.
we even
Be on the
gamble on
smash.
this yet? Is this
I'm not allowed to
is
gamble.
no,
Caddies and
you're
all this.
not, but I'm talking about me and the audience. Are we allowed to gamble on this? This is to you, the audience. If you're still paying attention at this point, kudos to you because we've gone a deep dive into Live Golf, which I know sometimes it can be tough to listen to, but are we allowed, like, is this on FanDuel? Is this going to be on DraftKings? Is this on
Question.
MGM? Like,
I
are
wouldn't
we
even
able to
know.
actually gamble on this team event? Or do they, like, that's another thing, Bobby, is are the casinos and the sports books getting behind Live Golf? Because I remember about 3 tournaments in, I tried to go on and throw in a bet on DJ, and he ended up winning. And I was pissed because I couldn't do it. There
Well,
was no
maybe,
place that I could gamble
yeah,
to
maybe
bet that
not.
DJ was going to win.
You should research that.
I'm gonna after this.
You gotta have some coding for that or something. Don't you put in a
Bobby, I
code
need your
or
kid.
something?
I
I
need your
know.
kid. He's
I
got to
know.
step it up. He's not
I
9
know.
years old anymore. He's going to
I
have to be
know.
19.
I
And we're
know.
going to have to bump him into the coding factor that he's going to code all of
Gotcha.
these sports gambling
Gotcha.
deals
Gotcha.
for us. He's going to have to
Want
figure
a
out
funny?
odds.
Let's end it. You want a funny Siwoo Kim story from last
My
week?
God, do I ever? Because guess
Okay.
what I'm enjoying?
Oh yeah.
A Bushwood
Yeah.
bourbon.
It's got a little bit of
Now,
cinnamon in it, like that shirt you're wearing
it
right there.
does.
A little bit
Yeah.
of
The
cinnamon.
shirt does have a little bit of
You
cinnamon
know
in it.
what? Okay, my last take on
7 years aged,
my
Bobby.
last take on your shirt. Now I'm not going to beat you up anymore.
No, you
I
should.
feel like I'm watching that. Fuck, is Santa Claus coming to town or something like that? That looks like an elf shirt to me or something. I
I
hope more
like
than
it.
2,800 people get to experience what I'm experiencing right now when they pull us up on YouTube and look at the live version and
Bobby,
look at
I'm
the
looking Miami fresh down here. I
gotcha.
mean, I've got Darrell behind me, the big blue monster. There's a goddamn fountain behind me on my right hand side. So I'm feeling fresh
Okay,
to death.
quick Siwoo story. So I
Please
saw
do.
Manny. So he didn't play good, very good the first couple days, and then I saw Manny before we teed off on Saturday morning. We were close to having the same tee times, and I didn't even pay attention to what his score was, and I go, "Hey, how's it going over there?" And Manny looks at me and goes, bro, the honeymoon is over." I go, what? He goes, oh yeah, the honeymoon is over, bro. It got a little crazy out there. And I told you 13 was like a really tight hole. There's water down the left and half the fairway. If you hit left center, it can kick into the water. And anyway, so I guess Siwoo is put on a fucking clinic, man. He said for the first 12 holes, and he can't get anything out of it, right? He's not outside 15 feet all day, and he's losing his shit. And he gets up on fucking 13T, right? And the one of the marshals, with the sign, the quiet please sign, stands behind him right before he's gonna pull the trigger, right? And and Siwoo fucking steps back and looks at him and goes, "Hey, over there, stand over there by the sign," right? So he's all rattled. I guess Siwoo gets up and fucking ends up getting settled, hits his drive, fucking pulls it left into the shit, right? And takes his fucking driver and just wow. They had these big CJ signs along the tee, and whacks it, just fucking cracks this metal sign, right? So they walk up, he drops his ball or whatever, and he hits an 8-iron. We had a little bit of rough. It kind of sat on top of this rough. I can't even describe it. It almost looked fescue-y, kind of rough, but it sat up on top, but everything seemed like it came off high off the face, right? So he hits this 8-iron, man. He's telling me the story, and he's posing on it, and boom, in the front bunker, and they think it's plugged, right? Siwoo fucking turns around and he tomahawk 360s the fucking 8-iron towards the water, but it doesn't go in the water. It's like hanging half and half on the bank, right? So Manny and Siwoo are walking up to the bunker. Manny's like, I'm fucking walking all the way up, and I hear these like footsteps like running for me, and he's like, I think I'm fucking freaking out. My man's on fucking tilt, bro. I don't know what to do. And he goes, all of a sudden we get up to the bunker, and this guy fucking taps me on the shoulder. He goes, and it was the walking score. And he hands me the 8-iron. He goes to hand me the 8-iron, right? He like retrieved it halfway out of the water, which if you went over there, you'd be like, fuck, are there gators in here? Nobody would come fucking close to that water in South Carolina. So it said Siwoo turns around fucking same time when the guy goes ham the 8 iron and Siwoo grabs the 8 iron and he goes, "You fucking keep it," and the volunteer on the tee and fucking threw it in the fucking waist area and just marched right into the fucking bunker. So there's my fucking story for the day.
Dude, that's legendary, Bobby. I
That's
mean,
you.
your accents are spot on. We had
Eh.
Manny on the show, and
Yeah.
you couldn't be more spot on
I know,
with your
I
Manny
know,
Vajegas
I know.
impersonations.
I know. You got to keep when your man is finishing T65, T67, and all that kind of stuff. Is the little things that keep you going. And let's end it on this note for all those people out there. Tough times don't last forever. Tough people do.
Wow, how about
I'm
that?
out.
But Bobby, I would not say that to Lori because it's not turning out well for TB. TB12 is
Yeah,
in the midst of a
yeah,
lot of issues going on there, and if
yeah,
it sounds like he shared that with Giselle, and she's like
yeah,
bounce.
yeah.
So
Oh, I don't know.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to read that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to
I'm
read that.
gonna have to read that.
I have to read that. Did I ever tell you I caddied for Giselle?
No,
Yeah.
when?
So when I was
Fuck
so
off. You're going to end the show and then all of a sudden you're holding back this story. You dropped
yes,
TB12
yeah,
twice.
yeah.
He's in
Well,
the
you could
news
kind of call it caddy
constantly.
for Giselle.
Oh
So
man.
I wouldn't say I was a famous Pebble Beach caddy, but I was, I got some famous people out there and they could always count on me that I wasn't going to be that creepy dude and that kind of stuff and ask a lot of questions. So I had finished a round at Pebble Beach. It was like 4:30. There's nothing else going on. The tee times ended 2:20, 2:30 or something like that. So the head pro there, a buddy of mine, Eric Lippert, he's like, "Hey, we got this little corporate thing that we're doing, and it's going to be with a photographer and some kind of famous person, and they want a caddy involved in it at Spanish Bay at 5 o'clock. It's only going to last like 3 or 4 holes. You're going to jump on the back of the cart or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go do it." He's like, "It pays $200 out of the shop. You get the cash right there." And I'm like, "Fuck, I'll go fucking do it. You could have told me it was $20. I got nothing else to do. It's Monterey. There's no fucking pussy in Monterey. There's nothing to do. Everybody does Coke or drink, right? That's what caddies do, Coke or
Well,
drink
yeah,
on that order."
basically.
Well, back in the day. So I'm walking in between the caddy barn and the golf shop, and there's this gorgeous woman standing by the cart, and there's a couple photographers and that kind of stuff. And the pro at Spanish Bay, I can't remember his name. He goes, "Hey, come on, let me introduce you." Right. So he's like, "Hey, Giselle Bündchen, this is your caddy, Bobby Brown." And she goes, "Oh, Mr. Caddy, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Holy fuck. She is not wearing a stitch of fucking makeup and she was drop dead fucking gorgeous, right?" So she didn't even hit any shots. She just had clubs in her hands and they were photography, following her around. And this is like 3 holes. And it's fucking, I've never been so nervous, but I'm sitting in the cart riding with her and I'm like, I'm riding with fucking Giselle Bündchen right now, the fucking
Bunchin,
supermodel.
bunchin,
How is it?
bunchin.
Oh no, there's umlauts there. It
Well,
should
it's
be
it's
Bündchen,
it's
right?
it's Brady now. Well, no,
Hey,
it's not because she kept her last name.
ich spreche Deutsch, aber nicht so gut. That means I
Yeah.
speak German, but not very good.
Wow,
Um, uh,
that is not
well,
very good.
whatever. And she's wearing like these shorts and everything like that. And I'm like, don't creep out, don't look, don't look. I'm thinking like this the whole time. Good thoughts in, bad thoughts out. Good thoughts in, bad thoughts out. And so I technically caddied for
Were you panicking out there?
Giselle Bündchen. I was nervous because she's
Now,
so gorgeous.
our audience is probably dying to know. Is
What?
this the most nervous you've ever been on the golf course?
What would be the most nervous I've ever been on the golf course? Um,
Just
yeah,
because this was out of
probably. I
your
don't think I
element.
really ever I get anxiety. I just want to get things going. I mean, I've been plenty nervous on a lot of first tees and
Well,
contention and
like,
different stuff, but
were you more nervous in the U.S. Open with Dustin Johnson
at Pebble Beach,
or
yeah,
or that moment to where you got surprised with Giselle Bundchen?
different kind of nervous. It was a different kind of nervous. Does that make any sense?
It
It was
does.
a different kind of
But
nerve.
which one was worse?
Well,
Which one did you stumble on?
probably the Giselle one for sure.
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous walking through all those people going to the first tee at Pebble Beach with Dustin after I watched him shank it for an hour on the fucking range.
You
before a
already
major.
knew what you
But
were
I was
in
trying to think
for.
that you want to know the most nervous I've ever been on a golf course. Here's by far the most
Yes.
nervous was the first Ryder Cup I ever did in 2010 at Wales when you had to walk through the tunnel onto the first tee. That by far was the
Mm.
most nervous I've ever been. And I was more nervous that I was going to because it was soaking wet out there. We probably shouldn't even play with the golf course in that condition, but I was just nervous that I was going to come off those stairs and slip or fall on my ass on the tee in front of thousands of people. That by sure was the most nervous I've ever been. The nervousness with Giselle was like schoolboy nervous, right? You know, the schoolboy nervous when you're in sixth grade and you're like, oh my God, Kristen Steiner, I think she likes me. Should I kiss her? Well, I wasn't. Will she move away? Will she accept my kiss? And then you move into seventh grade, and it's like, oh my God, it's Lisa Campbell. Should I kiss her? So
Last question, Bobby.
What? Go ahead.
I told it, you explained it so perfectly that it led me to this question.
What?
Do you still have any pull at Pebble?
Nobody
As
has
a
nobody has pull at Pebble. Are
Wow.
you asking for free green fees?
Wow.
Nobody has pull
No.
at Pebble. I
I
got a
mean,
little.
yes, but
Well,
no.
well, let me tell you this. I got enough pull at Pebble that I could get you a tee time there, but I can't get it. I can't get anything comp. Jesus Christ, they would charge me to go play Old Del Monte.
Really?
If I wanted to go play Old Del
Wow. What
Monte,
a
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, one of
yeah.
their former
They're money
colleagues
hungry
slash
at Pebble
legend
Beach.
on the tour.
No, it doesn't mean jack
Wow.
shit. No, they are money. It's all about the fucking dollar. I was
Yeah.
thinking about Pebble Beach this last week because we played threesomes, right? And they were taking 5 hours to 5 hour and 5 hours to 15 minutes
Was
was
it
like
that
the average
long?
time. Yes, yes, because it was there's long walks to
Yeah,
tees and you're
it's a
out in the middle of
big
nowhere.
golf
It,
course.
it was just taking a long time, but for some reason it brought it back, my memory back to Pebble Beach when they would send 4 people out. And do you know the range balls at Pebble Beach when you go to warm up for a regular round at Pebble Beach? Not a tour round, but a regular round. If you're Joe Schmo and if you're Giselle Bundchen and you're going to go play, every single range ball has 430 stamped on it for 4 hours and 30 minutes, right? Because they want to cram as many people and they reserve the right. I've had this happen before when I regular caddy at Pebble Beach. If you fall a hole behind, they fucking have like a beeper or a tracker on you because they send this guy named Hubert out from the golf cart.
God
That
damn it,
Hubert's been working
Hubert.
there forever. And he tells the people, if you don't catch up, we reserve the right to have you skip this hole and get back on pace. And I was just thinking to myself, how the fuck are tour players out here playing threesomes in 5 hours and 5 hours and 15 minutes? And they fucking expect Johnny Chop to play on a 4 fucking ball with caddies at 4 hours and 30 minutes at Pebble Beach. It doesn't make any sense. But what does make sense is it's all about the fucking dollars. So no, I cannot
Yeah.
get you comped at Pebble Beach. And
Dollars and cents, Bobby.
they're probably getting $750 a round to play out there
I
right now.
think it's yeah, I think it's close. I think it's like
Yeah.
6 something.
Hey, Pebble's Pebble, but I'm going to tell anybody if you got 100 or 150 bucks to spend, go play Bayonet or Black Horse, right? Go play Bayonet or
Mm.
Black Horse up there. If you ever make a peninsula trip and do yourself a favor, go spend 50 or 60 bucks and go play Pacific Grove Muni. You'll get all the views that you want to get,
By the way, Bobby, I've already planned it out.
What?
Fortinet next year. I don't know if it's going to be the same sponsor. I'm going
Right?
to be in Napa.
You are?
Already mapped it out.
Will you bring that shirt? I'll come meet you
Already
there.
have a stay. I'm going to give you this shirt. I'm going
They
to
will
make you
not allow
wear
you
it.
in French. They will not allow you in French Laundry.
No,
with
you
that shirt.
had. Well, that's valid and that's fair. Like you should never wear something this
But
loud
Santa
into the
Claus
French
is hiring
Laundry.
right now.
And guess what? I'm gonna be a.
Okay,
All right.
it's late. It's
It's late.
11:40.
Yeah.
Well, so we got
Clearly.
we got a big week
We
next
do.
Tuesday. Yeah, we
I mean,
got
we're
the
gonna find
Butterfield.
out if Liv is the real deal or
Yeah,
not.
we'll find out about Liv. We'll find out
Butterfield.
Butterfield, and we'll find out exactly what Pat Perez's schedule is going to be on the fucking
Oh my
Asian tour
God,
next year. Hit and run.
Bobby. Can you imagine if he just shats himself and
Oh,
shoots 85 out there and his team
oh.
crushes it, but yet all 4 scores count and he's the reason they lose the team
What do you
championship?
think? What do you think? Big fake tits and big fake lips is fucking the Crayola, the walking Crayola, his wife. She's just living it. How much money is she spending in Miami? And she has no taste. What
Oh,
could she possibly?
I mean,
What could she?
probably
Probably the
25 to
leather
50
shit.
G's while they're
Oh,
out there this weekend.
oh,
I mean,
oh.
here's the thing.
She not classy enough to buy a Celine purse, my man. She doesn't even know what that is.
You hope not, but at the same time, if you look at it this way, she thinks that that is going to be a revolving door of cash because
Yeah.
Paulina probably has egged her on and been like, hey, my
Right.
man's got this. Why can't you buy this?
Paulina's
And
man's worth 200 to 300 million dollars. Pat might have two left or
this is
three.
gonna this is where you don't want to be keeping up with the Benjamins.
No,
You know what I
no,
mean?
no. Benji don't lose.
Benji never loses. All right,
All
folks,
right, my man.
that is it for tonight. We
Thank
are
you.
done. Bobby, I'm sorry about your Padres. I'm sorry about my Yankees.
I am
Depressive
too.
times in baseball, but my God, do we have some golf coming up?
Manny Machado for president.
Go, Manny Machado.
See you, bro.
See you, bro.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Make sure to hit subscribe and go to www.pullhookgolf.com